Hey, what's up, everybody? It's KyFy. I'm glad you could be here. If you are new, welcome. If you are returning, I'm glad you're back. You know, we had a lot going on, but basically I got a couple of more messages to spread today. So let's just get with it before I get into the explanation of what the Zin-Finity Board actually is. So basically what God gave to me was, the name of this reading is the Flawsome Shield of Trauma, right? But that wasn't where it ended. So after that, then a day later, God said, information is the new drug. And then at almost the same moment, I saw blinders. Now that's funny because when you see information being the new drug and that being a blinder, when you think of, you know how they say, you gotta look at the light, you gotta go towards the light, you gotta be of the light. But when you ever looked at the sun? How long does it take for you to look away? It's not as easy as it seems. You got to look at the sun from when it first come out, and then you'll probably be able to look at it during the day easier. But you still won't be able to look at it for a long time. So just understand that looking at the light, being of the light, being in the light, people who see that and being of it, it's not easy to be around. You know. So if somebody is pushed away from you trying to be in your light, you'll understand that they weren't able to look at it in the first place. Not that it's easy, but the fact is your light is what really guides you in your path. So not that they're in your way, but they're in front of you and they got to be moving with you instead of opposing you. So I hope you can understand that. But the next message was paths and highways and the signs along them, right? So, all right, in any point of your life, you're gonna tell yourself, this is the road I need to take to get here. But there are highways, there are streets, there are boulevards, avenues, and all these other different types of streets that get into the nook and crannies of where people need to be. So if you take that into consideration of your life path, each highway looks the same as the trauma that you went through before. So not that you, okay, now when you think about that, will you go down the same highway? But this is the main vein that gets you to where you need to be. So if you're afraid to go down the main line, you're not going to get there because, well, it's not that you're not going to get there. You're going to be taking the back streets, these off methods to get to the same place when it was aligned to you to get there quicker, right? But you just had to be in a sense of, you had to have a sense of fearlessness. So that's what's coming up. The next part of that was the signs, right? So everybody's always asking for signs. What is it about the signs that's so important, right? How will you see the signs if you're not moving along the path, along the highway? So now that the highway is here, you know how you see these signs. You have to move forward, then it's blurry. Oh, now I see the sign coming. You see how that happened? But you're moving forward in wherever you think of. So wherever your lane is, wherever you think your lane is a path. It's going to have a sign, regardless. Street signs, this sign, that sign. You're going to know where you're going. And then a GPS is going to say recalculating, just in case you get it wrong. So I hope you can understand that. The last message was, don't think, just do. And what does that mean? On the Zin-Finity Board, this is the mind and this is the spirit. This is the body, and this triangle right here is the soul. But it's literally right here, but I'm going to keep going. When you're thinking too much, just think of it as an axis. The energy is shifted on this side, and you can't really use any of the energy where it needs to be. So you're thinking too much, you can't do. You're waiting for signs, waiting on spirit to show you, you're stagnant. You're not moving at all. But at least on this side, you can make mistakes and you can figure it out, right? But this side is a side of anxiousness. So when your mind gets a chance to find out what can go wrong, you have to stop it before you get to that chance. So you have to say, okay, this is a great thing to do. And as soon as you get that idea, just do it. Get up and do it. Do the first step right then and there before you get a chance to think about it, because your mind is powerful. You have to control it, but you can kind of cheat, because I figured out something. When you're moving your body, the energy is naturally with your soul in general, because that's the soul power. Your willingness to happen, right? My arm is moving because I decided to, right? So my mind is less active because my body is moving. So that's just the kind of sense in it. The energy is more in my body instead of my mind. So when you shift it into your body, doing things, acting things, or acting things out, completing that goal, figuring out that problem, right? Going about it in a way where you can learn, then you'll see these signs. So with that in mind, let's get this started. I'm gonna get these cards down right about now. Yeah, y'all know how we do. I shuffle, I don't cheat, I don't even like that. I'm not like that. But basically we got a lot to talk about, because there's a couple of things that are off and then a good amount of things that are on when it counts. What do I mean by that? Basically the energies can align and it can be misaligned. So how does this ZinFinity board work? I'm going to be basically tagging along with you and asking a question, right? So the questions are who. So you can ask any question that involves who. Who, what, when, where, and why. Now, those are the places. Now, let me explain it really quickly. Who is in the world of emanation, which is fire, imagination, and this is run by, described by the guides, right? The oracle card. What is described by the magic card. When is protection, but what is the world of manifestation, the physical world, things like that. That's what. When is the world of formation, which is the mind, and that's air, the air quality. So that has to do with protection. Where has to do with the world of creation. And this is the spirit world, you know, where that energy comes from. And this is the air card. And why has to do with the source in general. The reason why we say that I believe in reincarnation. So why we come here, why we're going through what we're going through, and what we're supposed to learn from it to do something. That why are we going through this? This is safe travel. So this is why you want to get there. You want to get somewhere. There's somewhere that you want to be. So after you have who, what, when, where, and why, there's information that follows that kind of creates the scene and gets you to form the information. So there are also questions you can ask too, and it goes as follows: from 0 to 10, back to 0 for a reason, but you'll see. We start at 0, which is Da'at. This is the throat chakra. The Sephiroth that isn't there and there at the same time. That's where it begins and it ends. And that's the clue that it gave me. So we starting at the star, right? And this is I know. That's Da'at. Next up is 1, which is the Ace of Pentacles at Ketha. This is the crown chakra. What crowns the reading? Who you are, what you're going to be. So this is I be. That's sturdy right there. So that's elite sturdiness. So if you feel like you're like the situation is like brittle, that's not true. That's a lie, right? But after I be is I want in the world, not the world, but we're Hokmah, and this is we're going down to the third eye chakra right now. This is Hokmah and Bina. The light side, we have the Ace of Wands. The dark side, we have the Five of Cups. From there, we go to Chesed, which is the will, and that means I will. So this is I want, I need, I will. Your will has to do with what you can do and what you decide to do. And can you decide to do it according to your situation? That's your will, and that's the Ace of Swords, right? Apparently there's a lot going on, but let's keep going. In desire, we have Geburah, which is the Six of Pentacles, right? From there, we go to the heart chakra, and that's Tiferet, and this is described by the Page of Swords, and that's Onsu. So that's a good thing. You have the space necessary to go there. You have the ability to go. But what's blocking you? We're going to figure it out. Next up is I do. So this is a place of your actions, your repetitions, your basically your habits. So what are you habitually doing to get to that place? And is it working? Or what do you have to do? And is that hindering you from getting there? So that's this area, and that's the Seven of Wands. So it seems like it's a battle, but you're on the winning side. But moving on, it's I feel, and this is the Queen of Wands, right? So this is the place of emotion, where the emotion come out. I feel this way, I feel that way. So what do you feel in this situation? This is also an earth energy. Well, not also, but this is an earth energy, and that's not water. So what does that mean? Your feelings are blocked for some reason, and it could be a reason, it could be a material reason. So moving on from there is I am. What are you right now? This is the place of fear, right? So if you are absent of fear, so I am not fearful, I am not scared, you are probably doing things to help yourself right now. But if you are moving with a sense of fear, this is the place where it would show itself. But you're not moving with fear, you're moving with actual wonder. I wonder what this can do, I wonder what this can do. And that's a good place to be, because there are more decisions that can happen, and God can help you out more, because the more decisions you make, the more gas you have along your path. Because we all know it takes a long time to get to the place you want to be, but it doesn't have to be dreadful. So the ZinFinity Board is an elementally energetic grid that flows on a 21-part circuit. It houses all aspects of the mind in a still life fashion. Anything that you can possibly think, basically, is here, and it's in all of these sectors of the mind. So it's up to us to make it clear, right? That's basically what this Zin-Finity Board is. So now that you have that little rundown, I'm going to talk about the energies that are off in this circuit, right? So starting with I know. Your information is not entangled, put it that way, because this is air, this is fire. And so since it has to be one of those elements, you're in line with the information. So what your information is telling you, your imaginations and things like that, that's not the thing that's deterring you. So if your imaginations are bringing you to a sense of worry, you should take notice of that, because that's also your spirit talking through you too. So you can imagine things, but your spirit says, yeah, imagine this more, think about this more, right? So it works together in tandem with your imagination. So you give that to spirit, right? Yeah, moving on is I be, and this is actually off suit, because this is supposed to be a fluid energy. So I don't want to go into it too much, but it has to be a water or a fire. So this is the water and this is the fire, right? So since it's not there, that's the first energy that's off. And this is your being, who you're going to be at the end of the day. That is blocked for some reason, and we're going to figure that out. Going forward, we have I want, and your wants are in order. What does that mean? Imagine that your path has a cursor on it. So you know how you play games, first person shooters, you can move the cursor around, and anywhere you point, you can hit that target, right? That's the cursor where you're gonna go. So even though you have your path, this is the place of the cursor. So your cursor is aligned. So these decisions that you're making are not in vain. So that's the general message with that. Moving on over here, when it comes to I need, what you need for these decisions. So that just means that God got your back, right? Or in general, because it's on suit. What you need to get to what you want, it's not blocked. But it seems like it's a sad journey. Why? Because you don't need to hold on to things. And when you always think about letting go, how does that feel? That's sad. Like, I let it go. I don't need this anymore, God. Like, you mean to tell me I can't bring this along with me? No, because it will block you, will hold you down, and it's baggage. And in my last reading, basically I talked about baggage and how basically when you unpack it, you gain that power. And unpacking it means when you learn from what you've been through, You gain that power because you move differently, because you learned a lesson. That's just initially what it is. So if you're walking around with baggage, if somebody says you got a lot of baggage, you got a lot of trauma and karma and things like that, that just means that they either notice it or they're projecting it, right? Because we attract who we are. So the black mirror in relationships is probably one of the most frustrating things. Anything you're saying to your partner is literally about you too, because if it hurts you, you're allowing it. That's so frustrating because right? That's frustrating. I know. It's terrible. I don't even know where I was. But yeah. Queen of Wands, that's what it was. So Queen of Wands is off. The Page of Pentacles is on suit, so everything is good in a sense of fear. You're not scared to move anymore. And that's a good place to be. Why? Because the devil can't stop you. And if the devil can't stop you, God can help you along the way. There's no such thing as mistakes when God wants you to learn, right? It's not going to be the end all, be all, every time you make a decision. You're here to live. So how can you live freely if you got to think so hard about every decision? That's not living. That's survival, logical survival. So after hearing that, I want to answer who, what, when, where, and why. Now we're going to put all that information into the place that it belongs, and all the domains of your mind. So so this is the astral world, the physical world, the spiritual world, and the mental world, basically where your conscious is, right? In this square right here is where ether is, and on these two sides has to do with basically your ego and your id, right? Super conscious, you know how it runs. It's always there. It's always in 3. But let's get to who. So in regards for who this is all about, it could be you, it could be something else, it could be a thing. You never know. Guides. Your spirit guides and ancestors are calling to you now. They surround you with their love and protection. Protection is over here in the mind right now. So that's great. I'm gonna go into it. And also offer you their wisdom. Allow these helping spirits in your world today. You are not alone. Meditate on this when you need assistance from your spiritual team. Now, these spirits, right? I always forget this verse, so I'm gonna remember it. But we are not battling spirits alone. We're not battling people alone, but spirits and entities and governors and all this other stuff. Basically, things we can't see and things we can't comprehend initially, right? So spirit knows all our attacks, but we don't have that communication to understand when it's coming. So that's what this is about. Your imagination to understand when the attacks can come will help you out, because you can imagine you playing football, you the running back. If you knew where the people was going to be, you will know exactly where to run to dodge them, right? So that's what this means in this case. Moving on from there, that's who. Now what? This is a physical thing, and that has to do with a little bit of magic, and this is also a pinnacle, so this is like a magic spot for it, right? So this is Asiya, the body, the world of manifestation and things like that. Magic. You are a magical being. Time to stop hiding the awe-inspiring abilities you have to connect to the divine. Drawing the pinnacle invites you to connect with your personal magic on a deeper level at this time, working with the phases of the moon in ritual and with herbs, candles, crystals, and spellworks. So basically, we are coming into a lot of information on the physical things that we can do. Like, some people chant, some people meditate, some people dance, some people go and get body work. And what I mean by that, they go to shamans and things like that to get the energies off. Some people do acupuncture, right? These are some things that you can do opposite of fighting everything. This is all nurturing. These are some things that you can do, not to cheat the system, but to beat the system, to make the system bow down to you. So it's like, okay, you do whatever you want to my body, but if I take care of my body, everything will align, because God likes the beautiful things too, right? And you're gonna be protected. So that's what. So let's go to win. Win is in the world of formation, but it has to do with time, and that's the place of the mind. Consciousness runs time. So protection. Naturally, you are protected. You are safe in all matters of the body, mind, and spirit. Your highest guidance has you covered on all fronts. Do not delay in moving forward. If inquiring about a relationship situation or how to proceed, please take this as a sign that you are taken care of and harm to none will be had. So meditate on this symbol when you feel like you need to strengthen your energy. All right. If you have that was kind of self-explanatory. I know you got that because I kind of explained it before. But the lack of energy for protection, that's like if you're giving out everything, how could you protect yourself when you have nothing left? You know, be wary, or at least write it down or something like that, what you give away, because you can keep track of it. And then when the lies come, you can just go to what you have that is a fact and is true and is time stamped and things like that. I don't know why I had to say that. So if you need evidence, the evidence can start from you. You can start right now. Yeah. All right. So where it involves the air, and this is in the place of spirit. Spirit is water based. So air came to play, and air is of the mind. So what is it about air in the spirit? That's the logic, critical thinking, facts, information, research, and reasoning are required at this time. You may also need some more information before proceeding. Okay, so remember that the imagination, basically what you conjure up just for no reason and what kind of hurts you at the same time. Like these imaginations, oh, this can happen or this can happen. A truck. It's just random, right? Facebook, it just keeps going and it never stops, because that's where your soul is. Your soul is eternal. So when you learn how to quiet that, it goes into, that's energy leaving you. When you meditate, that energy goes into you, empowers you, right? And for why, we have safe travel. A trip, a journey, or even a simple change of scenery is upon you. Meditate on this before you start a new adventure, move to a new home, or take a trip. Moving to a new home. Okay, you know how they say home is where the family is, right? So imagine that this is your mind, like I said before, but this is the family of your mind. Every point here is a perspective. Imagine that perspective is a living being, a conscious being that inhabits at the same time. And this is why it seems like it goes crazy, because all of these things wants to be corrected at the same time. You know, we have to learn how to focus. And when you focus, get your things in order, start at the root, go to the crown, and you will understand. Well, that's just how it works. All right, I think I said everything I need to say about who, what, when, where, and why. So let's get some clarification energy, and I'm going to be using this deck right here to clarify basically where all the energy is off. So I forgot about this one. It's only 3 energies that are off, so I'm going to deal these cards. And what I mean by that is, since this is earth and I said it needed to be fire or water, I'm going to shuffle and deal and draw cards to see if it can even out. So I give it 3 chances, then I move on. So I'm going to do that right now for these cards and come back to you right now. I'm going to get better at that. But yeah, so let me explain what happened really quickly. As I keep putting cards on, understand I'm adding energy to the situation, and energy requires time to fix, right? So when I put more cards on the situation, it tells me that it takes more time. So the only one that it happened in that way was for the emotions. So I feel, is the one that requires the most time to fix, and that's the biggest issue tonight. So we're gonna figure it out. All right, so starting off with I know is the star. So the star is hope, faith, and rejuvenation. And basically, when it comes up to what you know, if you have clarification, or what's that word? Confirmation. I forgot it. But you say like the answer didn't want to come, but I already had it. Certain things block you, but you understand how to get past it, right? But once you get that confirmation, all the information that you didn't want to rely on is now available to you. So now you have a bunch of power. Information is power. Straight up. The more you know, the more you can do. It's simple. And that's not out of whack. So you got that lined up. You don't have to be worried about that. And this is rejuvenation energy and faithful energy, right? Now your imagination, you can say, oh, okay, I'm thinking about this because I went through this. I'm thinking about this because there's a reason now, and it's not really attached to you. It's just speaking to you. You see, there's a difference. So now your imagination doesn't affect you in a negative way. Your imagination just offers the information. So that's powerful, because in the place where you need to be, or we need to be sturdy instead of being triggered, the information that's coming out of the situation is not going to sway you. It's powerful. But the emotions, what you feel on the inside, you're able to hold it. That doesn't mean that you have a place to relieve it. Now, we all have our places. Like, some people go to the park, some people go for a run, people exercise all the time, but they find these hobbies that they can do, these things that they can get out of their mind and, just work on themselves and kind of meditate. All of these things bring you to that meditative state. It's just what you like. But those places can relieve some of that tension when it comes up to the emotions of what you feel. And as I said before, all emotion is basically data and energy. So what does that mean? Somebody says, I love you. That's data. And there's a potential energy behind that, but you need to consciously reenact it. So the data and the energy is always there, but with your mind, that is protected right now. I just had to say that. With your mind, you understand what that meant and what that can do for you and how that makes you feel. Therefore, making you feel more rejuvenated and things like that. It makes you feel blessed. It makes you feel wanted. So the data and the energy can also trigger you. And we know where that can go. There's data and energy. There's data about my future, how I think things should go, and data in my past, how things have went before. So if I look at the past, look at the future, and I'm saying, okay, this is going to put me in one of those positions, even though that's not true, because you see that it can. Now you know you can do something. That's the problem. You see the issue, but there's not a direct route to fix it in a good way. It's always like there's something that you're missing out of the equation to get what you need out of the situation. Almost like you got writer's block at the wrong time, but you swear you smart. It's like, yeah, oh man. It's like brain work, brain work. I need you to work right now. You're not working. It's just not there. Because you're more in your emotional side. When you're triggered, you're not using your mind. You're triggered in the spirit. Your spirit is triggered. That's where your self lies. Who you are is triggered on the inside. You're not in your mind. So, I hope you can understand why that's important, to understand how it works. When you understand how it works, it's almost like a hedge of protection. Okay, this was meant to hurt me or shake me, but it's only information that I can do something about now. They've showed their hand. That was the star. You the star. That's information. Jeez, I know. That was it. So next up is IB, your being. At first, it was the Ace of Pentacles, so let's get it. Opportunity, prosperity, and new adventure. Now, what is wrong with that? That sounds great. Now, what is wrong with that? If there's always a new opportunity, will you ever finish the last one? Will you ever complete the last thing if there's always something new? Oh, this isn't something I think I can do. Oh, you gotta see it to the end in order to get it out your mind. Because if you don't see it to the end, it will only it will stay there and circle and circle and circle until you fix it. It's just gonna be there. That went from there, Ace of Pentacles to the Ace of Wands. So Ace energy coming out, new beginnings and all that. So let's see. So that's creation, willpower, inspiration, and desire. Now the reason why this is better in this position, because creation come here. Not that you're going to change your mind. You're adding to, right? You're fueling your desire. You're fueling who you're going to be or who you want to be at the end of the day. Who you want to be at the end of the day is either a dream or a fantasy. So you have to figure out which one that is. Hopefully it's the dream, because the fantasies sway you, because fantasies are created from what you were programmed to know and want and need. That's the fantasy creation. And when you're a child, you don't have a real fan. You have just like dreams, and I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be Batman right now, and now I'm Batman. You had that dream, you are the Batman. And it's just like kids have that power. When you get older, and when you have bills and chores and things and ailments and things like that, you have a lot more to worry about, so you can't be in that childlike energy. And that's where and what you need to protect, that childlike energy in you, because that it's almost like when God feels that childlike energy in you, he has no choice but to give it gifts, because it's a child, right? You know how we do to children. Oh, let me just do anything right now for this child. This child is great. It's pretty. I created it. I knew it's going to be there. I don't know why I had to say it like that, but yeah, let's move on from there. And went from there to the Ace of Wands again. So it came out first, and this was your cursor, right? You realign yourself, not forcefully, but soulfully realign. Soulful realignment. Now, when I said that thing about the fantasy, it just triggered me to say the fantasy is aligned with the dream. That's what that triggered me to say just now. Alright, so Ace of Wands again, creation, willpower, and desire. But let me read it reverse real quick. Lack of energy, lack of passion, and boredom. That's if you didn't have any guidance or direction, you'll be bored. So when you're bored, speak to your spirit, because you'll know what to do. And passion is over here. Action is on this side. Passion is over here. Action is over here. As for I need, is the Five of Cups. So let me just get it real quick. Loss, grief, and disappointment. Now, as I said before, you need to let go. And when you let go, you can get more, right? If you try to hold on to everything, sometimes you need help, right? Let's just say you at the supermarket and you got 3 bags too many, but on the way home, you saw one of your children, but instead of just like asking your child for a little bit of help or whatever, you do a thing where, oh, I don't need the help, I can do it. But if you ask for it, you can let go and it'll be better. The same thing goes for, let me get a better example. So I've never taken a blimp ride, right? But I do know about the mechanics of it. If you are descending too fast in the blimp and then you're in the area where you need to be up in the sky to go over the mountain, over the trees or whatever, right? Sometimes you can get rid of the weight and it'll actually propel you higher. So in a sense, you're in treacherous areas and it requires you to let go some of the baggage. As I said before, learn what you went through and do better for it, right? That kind of thing. When you do that, your load becomes lighter, right? You can aim higher, you can think with a higher perspective. So that's what that's about. As far as your will, I will is the Ace of Swords. There's a lot of aces out. So let's see. So breakthrough, clarity, and sharp mind. When you want to will something into existence, right? You have to have a focus. You have to have clarity and discipline. You have to be concise with some of your actions. You have to make sure that it finishes. You know what I mean? You have to make sure you want to see it through. And the Ace of Swords coming out says, you remember the information that you can rely on now? Since you can rely on the information, you became more sharper. The attacks become less. Or you know how they say new levels, new devils, right? That's a new level thing. But we're talking about the old cycle right now. The old cycle doesn't have that effect on you anymore because you're sharper. You need... It's light now. The what you need to do to get over it, or what you need to do to get through it, is not as hard as it was as you remember it. And when you think about that, you can say, oh, okay, I did grow because this is easier to get through. This is easier to do. This is easier to manage, maintain, and things like that. But it requires time and repetition. Make it habitual. I don't know why I said that, but yeah. Next up is desire, which was offsuit at first with the Six of Pentacles, because earth and fire need to be on this side. Air and water needs to be on this side. So it started off with the Six of Pentacles. Charity, generosity, and sharing. Now, there's something that we need to understand about desire. Think of desire as a black hole. It will be limitless and eventually it will run out. But what you do know is black holes trap light. So whatever you will into existence, it runs its course through desire, because it doesn't stay there. The new car feeling doesn't stay there the whole time. So you know how in a relationship the guy has to constantly reinforce the fact that y'all beautiful. We learned that it runs out every other day. We need to make sure. But this is something that we learned. Something that we need to keep up in repetition, just to make sure that you have enough to get through the day. Because vice versa, we have our things that we need too. Right? Just to get through the day. But don't let it hold you. Don't let it take that kind of... Well, don't let it hold you back. So it went from there to the Ace of Cups and it completed. Well, it fixed the energy. So let me get the Ace of Cups. New feelings, spirituality, and intuition. So this is giving me the butterfly effect. I'm going to just leave it like that. But butterflies in general, the butterflies when you meet a new person, when you see something new, when you get a new car. I don't know why I keep talking about a car. Somebody about to get a car. Somebody's about to get a car. You have a car on the way. I don't know. You have arrived. You have arrived. Okay. You have arrived to the destination. So new feelings, spirituality, and intuition. Okay. Sometimes you can be anxious for a good thing. Because let's just say you're in the dark and you have to find something on the floor. But you know where it dropped. You heard it, and you got the signs that say, and then you touched it with your hand. Okay, it's over here. I know it for sure. I just got to make sure to get it. But it's taking a long time to find it. But you know it's there. So it's like so close, but yet so far. That kind of feeling is happening right now with your desires. But it's close. So all you got to do is reach out a little bit farther. Do a little bit more. Wait a little bit more. Be a little bit more patient. And patience is probably the hardest thing in the world to do. To have. The hardest thing in the world to have is patience. Patience with a person. Have you met people? People are ridiculous. People will ruin your day because somebody ruined theirs, and they think it's justified. Well, they did it to me. The world did it to me. I'm gonna do it to somebody else. It's not my problem, not my energy to have. So you take that random person, and it's you. And you being the light creature you are, you're not gonna give it to anybody else like that. You're just gonna sit there. This guy, I cannot stand this. He stepped on my foot, shoved me, pushed me to the side, and I can't get the revenge that he just got. I just gotta. You know how hard it is to be on the light side when you know exactly what to do on the dark side? But that's the beauty of it. Knowing exactly what to do and not doing it gives you a blessing, because there's a potential, right? Potential energy, right? That energy has to go somewhere. It's not gonna, it just stays there. It's just gonna be there. What does it do? Go toward your manifestations. It gives your spirit more power to do for you. So as you hold out, it's funny because I started to think of it this way. In a game, I think of games a lot, but it really helps. If I'm walking like my regular route, and bad things keep happening to me, and I choose not to do the revenge, like get the revenge, right? Just like, okay, it's okay. It's okay. It's not too bad. It's okay. You're fine. If I decide to brush it off and just like move forward, walk in strength, I get those karma points. Those karma points go to my bad karma. And I'm like, hey, that's the lesson, God? That ain't nothing. Let me get that. That was $50, 50 karma points. Let's get it. Now that was 100 karma points. That guy was vicious. That right there, I couldn't even do. I had to run away. But you understand, like, the more you're able to handle, not that you have to be a punching bag. No, I did not say that. You are able to defend yourself. Spiritually, mentally, physically, and with your time. You are able to defend your time. So if somebody is bullying you into any one of these submissions, submission physically, submission mentally, submission spiritually, you have to understand the scope of what your mind is. You're not just a physical body. So when you're in pain and you see that your body's beautiful, you can't figure it out. You can't figure it out. You have to go in there, meditate, that kind of thing. Moving on, right? We have I love, and this is the Page of Swords. The Page of Swords is on suit, so that's a good thing. This is the place where the space is given to do things. Time, money, and space. It's like a trinity, right? If you have the time to go places, you can do things. But if you need money in order to just survive, you can't go to many places because you need more money, right? But in order to do that, you have to use your time to gain more money. So you're restricted. So that's why it boils down to time management, really. And if you can make things work for you, you can double up on time. Buying in bulk saves time and money. It doesn't just save money. You gain 30 minutes of work time by buying that bulk item. So other things can help. You can work around the problem as well as directly. Oh, I forgot the word, but yeah. So Page of Swords, curiosity, restlessness, and mental energy. That's perfect. Curiosity and restlessness. I'm not going to be held down. Somebody tries to come after me, I'm going to use my knowledge to get around them. This is a sword that's ready to swing. Don't try me kind of energy. I'm ready for the smoke kind of energy. Don't test me. I can keep going on. Like, I'm warning you. And I warned you. And you know I warned you. That kind of energy. Now, what are you going to do with that? That's up to the devil. But yeah. The Seven of Wands is in the solar plexus. And this is I do. That was the hot chakra. This is solar plexus. I do. And this is also aligned on suit, right? So I do what? Let's see. 7 of Wands. So perseverance, taking defense, maintaining control. Now, perseverance has to do with longevity. Taking defense has to do with your ability. And maintaining control is, in order to be able to do those things, it must work properly, right? That kind of thing. So you're able to keep up with all of, basically you're able to keep away from all the devices that would stop you and take your time. So what does that mean? Going out to the club that one more time took away from your money and your ability to do something else. You understand how this can work. It can be anything. You go into the park that one more time. You don't need to go to the park that time. You ain't need to be there. And since you were there, something bad happened. You were like, nah, I should have never came here. That was just spirit talking. But yeah, the things you do on a daily, the things you do regularly to try to cope, if you sacrifice that for doing something that can help and just ease your way into doing that, you'll see the tides turn. And that's what you notice. You recognized it and you're doing this diligently. So moving on from there is the problem seeker. The problem was the emotions, right? I feel. The feelings are all over the place. Why? Because you're trying to get in contact with spirit. You're looking for a sign. You're waiting. And this is energy. You're getting to know yourself. Yeah. So when you actually come out that shell, you're going to be moving like a giant, a titan. And everybody's going to be looking at you like, when did you get there? I got to do something now. They're going to be jealous too. So watch out for that. So it started off with the Queen of Wands. Courage, determination, and joy. Now, what is it about this place? Courage, and determination, and joy. This is a fire over the water. You're not allowing to yourself to feel that way. You're not allowing yourself to feel courageous. The things that you do, which are courageous, these actions that you do on a daily, you have to recognize it as power. Like, I did this and it was something hard to do in the past, and now I'm doing it like it's nothing. But the trials of living took your mind off of that growth. So you have to understand, I did grow and I'm surviving off of that growth. Like, you gain levels, acknowledge it, so you can stop fearing, because you got your own back also. And we're from there to the 9 of Pentacles. So fruits of labor, reckless spending, and rewards. We obviously reckless spending. All right. If your way to cope is, like I said, going to the bar, and you're not able to cope within, that's going to take away from your money, aka time, in this space you can do anything in, right? You can't move because now you need to go get that money back. Now you need to get that bag, right? So frivolous spending, and like I said, spending your money in bulk adds time. I hope you can really understand what I'm saying right now. There's other ways around it. And we're from there to the Lovers, and that's an air card. So that's partnership, union, and duality. This is an air card over a water space. So these two energies are parallel. What does that mean? They cannot occupy each other's space at the same time. So when there's air here, there's no water. But it's not like it can't be water. Something is blocking it, and this is your mind. So before, you were doing too much. Then you were spending too much. Now you're thinking too much, but you're able to save. So you see where this is going? Everything that I just said is in growth. And then it went from there to the 7 of Pentacles. You don't understand this. This is guy planted and is waiting for something. So, not that it's frivolous, but let's see. So hard work, perseverance, and diligence. Diligence is my new one of my new favorite words because I forgot it, and it was the thing that I needed the most in order to do this better. So, diligence. When you have it, when you practice it, it really does help because you feel better in the long run. I could have decided not to do this reading, but for the person that's here right now, I wouldn't have been able to help you. I wouldn't have been able to show you that other way to see it, just so that energy to pass. So I'm an alchemist. That's what I do. Mental alchemy. That's what the Zin-Finity Board is. And as I pass this energy down, it unlocks from the chakras. So we're going to get that down to the root, where a place where you can be fearless. That's my goal, giving you different perspective. But let's continue. It went from there to the Page of Pentacles. Now the Page of Pentacles is on suit, but let's get it real quick. Ambition, desire, and diligence. So discipline and diligence. Okay, the message when I was talking about don't think, and what does that mean? Again, the energy is all in the world of formation, so you're just trying to figure it out, but you have no energy for what you need to do with all of those thoughts. So you're overthinking things and you don't even have the time, space, or the energy to do it. So you're just imagining the impossible, putting your body and your mind in an impossible scenario where you know you won't win. Just let it go. There's something else. There's a way for you to do it. And before it gets to that point, you can stop and just do it. Before your mind has the ability, it requires an amount of time. So there's a time limit. Once you think of that beautiful idea, you have a certain amount of time before your mind takes over. But the way to keep it away from that overthinking energy is to go within, your soul energy. This is this energy right here in the middle. Your spirit is on this side, soul is on this side. When you pull from the spirit, when your mind is going berserk like that, you get more into your body. You get more into time, the present time. Therefore, you're able to do more things. So acting immediately, not to say that don't run into a fire without being prepared. Be prepared for the immediate thing that you can do. Be prepared for it. Don't just run into it. All right. So next up in the flow of the reading is, now that you know who, what, when, where, and why, I know, I want, I need, I will, I desire, I love, I do, I am, I feel, and I am. Now that you know those things, here's the ifs. And this is where it gets mechanical. Now this is the star stream, right? And what does that mean? We go from experimentation in the root chakra, expression in the sacral chakra, integration in the solar plexus, transcendence in the heart chakra, and then we go back to ascendance. And this chain of events, every time you do it, you level up, because you do something, you feel it out. You use something, you imagine something, you put something into play, then you feel it out. Okay, I can do this with this works this way. Okay, if I do this in tandem with this, in this rhythm with my solar plexus, then I get to figure it out, I get better at it, I master it, and then I transcend. And once I transcend it, the full experience of what I needed to know gets logged into your soul memory. It's experienced. Your soul says, thank you, come again, like that kind of thing. And we're going to find out what we're going to do next. So this is also new information. This is also new manifestation. Also new seeds that have been planted because you've done the things. You've done the work. So keep going up in this line and we'll figure out what we can do physically, mechanically. To do that, I use the oracle cards. And I'm going to do it on the fly like this, because sometimes it's good. So coming up in experimentation, you have home. Experiment with the things that make you or give you the sense of feeling at home. Because if you do that, you understand the child in you when you were young. If you were home, if you, God willing, if you grew up in a space where you could be home, could be safe, right? That feeling of being at home allows you to go freely. Kids running around in the house. Oh, I could do whatever I want. You're God's child. Oh, you can do whatever you want in the house. And God baby-proofed it. God baby-proofed this world. That's crazy. God baby-proofed this world because we're His children. So, what you think is gonna hurt you? You're God's child. In due time. So, for the world of experimentation, for the world of expression, we have jealousy, right? And jealousy is a good thing and a bad thing. Jealousy is a cursor for what you want and need. Oh, this is something I can see myself doing. But the negative thing to do is to take it, right? The positive thing to do is to either earn it or earn it. So even though you can be jealous of something that somebody has, it is also goals. That's goals. So next up is integration, right? I'm gonna put this card face down right here. So next up is integration. And what does that mean? So you have thoughts that turn into speech, that turn into actions, that turns into habits, and then it goes into part of your character. It becomes a part of you. So let's just say it had 5 levels of repetition scale, right? As you do these things, let's just say if exercise is a part of that, you do a little bit, you get a little bit of a result, and you just deal with that. You do it in conjunction with what you need to do or your goals. If you align with your goals with it, if you say, okay, I need to do this in order to reach my goal, and you do it, that requires a part of it being a part of you. Like you've been doing it for a while and you can do it without thinking that it's a struggle because you've done it so many times. It's not a struggle. It's a matter of I have to do it this way to keep up, to maintain, to organize it. And this has to do with time. You're being better with time because you're willing to fight off the negative, basically. The temptations. That's the word that I was forgetting. And from there it goes to transcendence, and this is divine feminine. It's good that it's on this side. I'm noticing in that the divine feminine is on this side in the place of the heart. So that's perfect. And let's get this really quickly. So starting off with the home in experimentation. Alright, so you are being guided to come back home to who you truly are. Drawing this card can signal a change in your physical home or sense of where you belong. Pulling this card also symbolizes that wherever or whatever your current situation, you can trust that this movement is in alignment with your higher self. So, who you are is the home that you occupy. So, if you're not afraid to be yourself, you feel at home. Just like that. Marinara real quick. You have not lost your way. You are in fact right on time and on track. Meditate on this symbol to access your higher power when having to make important decisions. So, yeah, that's home and experimentation. Next up is expression with jealousy. Envy, jealousy, and bad vibes. This card comes as a warning that all is not as it seems. Or maybe it is. There may be some jealousy being presented or projected at you at this time. Fear not. This warning is here to provide you with enough distance to take the necessary action to protect your heart, mind, and energy. Or perhaps the good old compare and despair monster has got you wishing or longing for what another has or is doing. So, I think this is directed at you, not you projecting it. Why? Because when you decided to hold your blessing for yourself and use it for yourself first, it only made you more attractive. Because that's what the divine feminine does. It makes you more attractive. So your jealous eye almost going into yourself. Like, I'm jealous of who I am and I can't wait to expose it. Like, I don't know, I guess that's the better way to view jealousy. So next up is time in integration. Divine timing is everything. You are not stuck or heading in the wrong direction. And this is like a repetitive message. So God really wants you to understand that what you're doing is necessary, needed, and online and divine aligned. So do it with a sense of courage. Drawing this hourglass asks you to have patience with whatever your current situation is. All will come to pass when the moment is just right. This card can also indicate that something you are waiting for is just on the horizon. So I find that funny that patience came out again, because as I said before, that's probably one of the hardest things in the world to have. It's just patience. Yeah, like I said, have you met people? Like, there's a person that's named People that we all know at the same time, and we talk about that person. We all know them, and they're all unbelievable. But yeah. Next up is Transcendence, and this is the Divine Feminine. So let's get it. The Divine Feminine is receptive, creative, empathetic, and emotional. In her highest aspect, she represents collaboration, nurturing, sharing, birthing, inclusiveness, and vulnerability in perfect harmony with the world around her. So that's important, that the harmony and transcendence. Okay, this is acclamation. This is, it was hard to do, now it's not. This is, I don't even worry about it anymore because it's being done for me. This is, I'm so past this problem that I don't even recognize that you asked me about it. This is, huh? What are you talking about? Oh, that was years ago. Oh, that's the kind of letting go that's occurred. And you're able to do that because you see who you are. You would rather grab on and hold on to who you are. You'd rather grab onto that. That's the only thing to grab on. Really? So last but not least is Ascendance. And this is the last card of the reading, so let me get it for you. Meditate. I've been talking about meditate the whole time, so that's funny. God likes to put little funnies in what I do, and I just be laughing by myself. When I found out that the way I like to read is I'm talking to myself, to a whole crowd of people, and y'all listening, and I'm answering y'all, yeah, that's why I just leave it up to God. Like, okay, this is what's happening now? Yeah, let's just meditate on it, right? Meditation is very key. This is how you ascend. When you meditate, you find a flow. What you do easy can be somebody else's benefit. What you can also get paid for that, right? But what if it was a sense of meditation? What if something that you do puts you in a sense of meditation? Some people do tattoos, right? Y'all ink up all day. Are y'all not in a trance at the same time? Oh, I gotta get this line, I gotta do this. When you draw, when you're an artist, what are you even thinking? You're in whole meditation. When you think, it gets worse. When you're doing art, you think it like gets worse because you lose it. Like, you lose the initial inspiration. What did I do this for? Meditation brings that information back. So, yeah. So, if you made it to the end of the reading, I appreciate you. Like and share, subscribe to the channel. There will be more content and more interesting content because this board keeps changing. Every time I look at it, there's a different way to read. So I'm trying to find the most perfect one, the easiest one that'll resonate with the most people. And until then, I'm KyFy. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Peace.